Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hollister. This is actually my first video, so I'm sure the quality won't be the greatest. I just wanted to do this as a little introduction to myself. I recently, well, not recently, I served 21 years, or just shy of 21 years in prison for second-degree murder and attempted murder on a police officer. Second-degree murder involved a friend of mine, an associate, was killed by a police officer, and I tried to kill the police. I was 17 years old at the time. Uh, I started off in juvenile hall, and then went through California Youth Authority, got kicked out of Youth Authority, and went through the prison system from Pelican Bay to Ironwood, down to Chuckawalla, and from Chuckawalla, after it turned to sensitive needs, on over to New Corcoran or SATF. I originally got out of prison in 2010. Filing writs in the court, I was released by order of the federal courts. And I was out for approximately 13 months, and I was taken back in. I did not commit any other crimes or have any violations on parole. There was a case going on when I got out that was determining whether federal courts had jurisdiction over state parole, and it was determined that they did not. As I was getting out, I knew that this case was going on. I was following the outcome. I even told the parole agents at the time that it's a possibility that they would have to put me back in. Anyway, I was out, started going to Cypress College for drug and alcohol counseling. I was working at Labor Ready at the time, making a whopping $8 an hour, which was actually below the California minimum wage. But things were good. I was extremely happy to be out. I was extremely happy to make that $8 an hour, and I worked as if I was making $50 an hour. So moving forward, I finally was able to complete my studies at Cypress College. I got our certificate for addiction studies and an associate in human services, and start working in the substance abuse treatment field. At the same time, I also started working on getting a certification for anger management, because that is my recovery. You know, as mentioned, I work in substance abuse recovery, but I personally don't identify as an alcoholic or addict. I did have some very serious anger issues. I had very serious criminal behavior and other, antisocial behaviors that I had in the community. And now I feel that this is kind of my opportunity to give back to the community that I've taken from. Also, I really like the idea of, being able to go out and talk to people, a wide range of people, about different topics. My primary, or two of my primary um, objectives with this channel will be anger management. And also, I plan to, and I'm still working out exactly how I'm going to do it, but I want to have a playlist where I help people learn to use their cell phones, right? And so again, I'm an amateur. Anything that I know about phones has been learned by trial and error. But I know a lot of older people, as well as people just getting out of prison, especially long-termers, have a lot of difficulty working with their cell phone. And I figure that, if I could help them easily transition, that would be good. It would also help me, because in the process, I'm sure I will have to learn some other things as well. Um, some of my content will be recorded. Probably most of it will be recorded videos. However, I will also include lives. I will go live. Um, I don't plan to tell like the prison stories. There are a lot of channels that are doing that. They're actually doing a really good job at that, telling the prison stories, kind of giving the young people, as well as people's families, an idea of what goes on in prison, how it works, and as well as the dangers associated with going to prison and joining up with prison gangs and such. And I actually watch a lot of their channels as well. So I don't necessarily plan on getting into that. However, I may on occasion, and I most likely will on occasion, interview some people who have been incarcerated. Um, Generally, or as it stands now, I plan to most likely interview them a little different than what the channels are doing now. So rather than talking about uh, in great detail about the prison stories, I will try to go into what they learned while they were in prison and how it affected them, how it affected their families and such. Um, and I think that'll actually be helpful for a lot of people because the thing is, when we are doing time, we're not doing time alone. Our families do time with us. Your wife, your children, your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wives, whatever the case is, they do time with you. You're not doing time alone. And yeah, so we'll have an opportunity to get into that. Uh, anyway, on my particular case, um, I am originally from Louisiana, Springfield, Louisiana, the George settlement, and I came to California. I was about 10 or 11, I believe. I started getting in trouble around 1984, I believe, is when I got my first case. I got a burglary. Um, and from that time, it was just constant crap. I was back and forth in juvenile hall, juvenile placements, getting in trouble all the time, taking me up to the point wherein I was 17 years old. Me and three other associates went out to the park, a place called the Settlement House in Riverside on the east side, and we were just hanging out, getting high, and the police showed up on the scene. Um, at the time when the police showed up, he basically asked us what we were doing. We said we were just hanging out, drinking. He asked if we were all over 18. We all said yes. I was lying. I was 17. Um, and then he said, well, whose car is this? And my associate, Tommy, said, oh, it's my car. And the police said, okay, you guys can go. We just need you to stay here. Speaking of Tommy, because of his car. Now, the reason why the police had a concern about his car, the car at the time had a significant amount of bullet holes in the car, as well as the back window being shot out, right? And I believe um, his nephew, maybe some weeks or months prior, had got shot in the car, not killed, but shot. I believe it was his nephew, if I'm remembering correctly. So anyway, we were still driving around in the car with freaking bullet holes in the car, as well as we always had, guns as well. So when the police officer told everybody they could go, I knew that Tommy wasn't having it. And prior to that, maybe a few weeks prior to that, Thanksgiving, I believe it was, because my case was November 28, 1989. I got out originally set in September of 2010. Anyway, a few weeks prior to that, I was talking to Tommy's family. Um, his brothers and his nephew. I was really close with one of his nephews uh, by the name of Crow. I heard that Crow is no longer with us. Rest in peace. Um, and I was talking to them, and they were like, "Hey, I know this guy is hard to handle, but you know, will you look out for him? You guys are always hanging out together. Will you look out for him?" And I told him, I said, "Well, if we get into a situation, or if he gets into a situation and I'm there, if he doesn't come back, I'm not coming back." So we, so we're there at the scene. The cop, as I said, told us we can leave. Everybody